for the 5-minute map part 2. If you haven't already done part 1, please stop this video and watch part 1 first. We're going to be studying United States history this year, and so our goal of the 5-minute map is to have a rough map of the United States in your head throughout this year to help you understand how geography affects history. The learning target for the 5-minute map is students will be able to create a 5-minute map of the United States with correctly labeled borders, lakes, major cities, mountain ranges, and rivers. Part 1, we got our borders, major bodies of water, including the Great Lakes. Now we're going to do our 2 major mountain ranges and some of the major rivers and cities in the United States. We're going to start off here where we left off with the Great Lakes. At the tip of Lake Michigan, the southern tip, is the city of Chicago. Then we're going to move over to the East Coast. About where we came in here is the city of Boston. Remember, this is a rough map of the United States. Now we're going to mark Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is not on the coast. We're going to put it about at this halfway fold that we made from the video part 1. Come in about 2 lines, make a big star to show that it's the capital city versus just another city. And this is Washington, D.C., the United States capital. The city of New York City is about halfway between Boston and Washington, D.C., and it is on the coast. You can label it NYC for New York City. Next, we're going to draw in the major river of the United States, the largest river. It's the Mississippi River. Starts on the west side of Lake Superior. It's going to come down to the middle of this arc in the Gulf of Mexico. This place right here where the Mississippi River will meet the Gulf of Mexico, this is the city of New Orleans. We're going to go ahead and start the river over here. It's going to come down, make kind of a nose shape partway through, and come down to New Orleans. Go ahead and label this the Mississippi River. R is fine for river. Next, we're going to label the 2 major mountain ranges in the United States. First, going to do the Appalachian Mountains. Those are on the East Coast. Going to start up here where we were in Maine and come down past the fold a little bit, just a little bit more than halfway. Comes down kind of like this, I don't know, like a banana or maybe like a giant pickle. But those are the Appalachian Mountains. They play a big role in especially colonial and early American history. The other major mountain range is really what we call a mountain range. Those of us living here on the West Coast, it's the Rocky Mountains, and they are twice as tall and cover twice the area of the Appalachian Mountains. They take up a huge portion of the western United States. So we're going to start with these about 1/3 of the way between the West Coast and the Mississippi River, and ending about 1/3 of the way up this arc here, and just a little bit above, about a thumb's width or so above. Make a big, like baguette type looking shape. I'm going to label these the Rocky Mountains. They're also called the Rockies, just another way of saying it. Now that we have the Rocky Mountains labeled, we're going to go back and hit another one of our major rivers. It's the Missouri River, and it comes off of the Mississippi River about here and into the top part of the Rocky Mountains. Also going to label the Ohio River. It comes from about this nose part into the Appalachian Mountains, about like that. That will also play an important role in early American history. Now we're going to go over to the southwest corner, and we're going to label another river. Going to have it start right here in Mexico, going to go through this point where the Pacific coast, the west coast of our nation, hit this red line, and up into the Rocky Mountains, kind of to the edge of the Rocky Mountains, like that. And this is the Colorado River. It does run indeed through the state of Colorado. It's also the river that goes through the Grand Canyon. Next, we're going to come to the middle part here, another river and city that play an important role in our boundary with Mexico, and we'll also study in the Mexican-American War. We're going to label first the city of El Paso, and we're going to label that about here where this arch of our border with Mexico intersects this red line of the border on your paper. Put a dot there, and that is the Texan city of El Paso. Now we're going to draw the Rio Grande. Rio is Spanish for river, so don't label it Rio Grande River, just label it Rio Grande. That forms part of our boundary with Mexico. So we're just going to follow this boundary line right here. And then at the city of El Paso, it goes pretty north about like there. And we're going to label this the Rio Grande. Now we're going to go back up into the Rocky Mountains and label the Colorado city of Denver. It's about between where the Colorado and the Rio Grande end, right here in the Rocky Mountains, and this is the city of Denver. Denver's nickname is the Mile High City because it is a mile up. It is in the Rocky Mountains, which is relatively unusual for a big city. Now we're going to go over to the Pacific Northwest where we live. We're going to draw in the Columbia River. So we're going to use this line here and make about a square out to the Pacific Ocean. Columbia River makes the border, one of the borders of Washington, and it continues on up into Canada. Go ahead and label this the Columbia River. While we're up in this area, we're going to label Seattle. If you made a little square here that came in from the West Coast, Seattle would be right there. So we're going to label Seattle. Now we're going to go down the West Coast and label two more cities. So just below this fold, the center fold line, about a line or a finger's width below, I'm going to put a little dot, and this is the California city of San Francisco. And the last city we're going to label is between San Francisco and where Mexico starts on the Pacific Ocean side, right about here. This is the California city of Los Angeles. So there you go, your 5-minute rough map of the United States that will give you a picture in your head as we study United States history this year, help you get an idea of where these places are that we're going to study.